Hey there, welcome back to Lunch Break. I'm Wendy Bounds. Well, divorce among people 50 and older hitting the highest point in American history. Do we blame it on the empty nest syndrome? We're going to talk right now to Susan Gregory Thomas. She's in Los Angeles and is writing about this for the Wall Street Journal. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Pretty astounding statistic, I think, because overall divorce rates have been falling. Am I right about that?
Yes, you are right about that. In fact, divorce rates among Generation X, born 1965 to 1980, really hold the distinction of being the most conjugally intact for the past very, very long while. And baby boomers born 1946 to 1964, divorce rates spiked first in 1980 and are continuing to remain high to the extent that in 1990, only 1 in 10 of people over 50 were divorced, and by 2009 that number rose to 1 in 4. So of people over 50, divorce rates have doubled in the past 2 decades.
You've sort of deemed it, the gray divorce or the midwife crisis, the empty nest divorce. I mean, we're all fascinated by this, and we're talking about it before the show. Why, folks in this demographic, is it that the kids are gone and suddenly they have to sort of be together alone for the first time in so many years, and they just married so young they never had time to figure out if they really should have been together in the first place?
Well, it's tempting to look at a number of different causes, but it turns out that the chief one may be increased longevity. The baby boomers are enjoying increasing lifespans, and the fact of the matter, according to Betsy Stevenson, who is a professor of economics at Wharton and who tracks marriage and family statistics, says that the truth of it is that the baby boomers just aren't dead yet. So it could be that some of those marriages that are now ending in divorce may have ended in death in years previous.
So everyone has to learn to stand each other for a little bit longer. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's part of it. The other reason that sociologists point to is that the baby boomers are really the first in American history to look at marriage in a categorically different way. And the way sociologists talk about this is the individualized marriage, which is a much more egocentric view of marriage than in years past. For example, pre-war, sociologists called the American view of marriage as being the institutionalized marriage, which was that it was a very formal, almost an economic transaction. Post-war in the 1950s was what they termed the companionate phase of American views of marriage, which meant that couples tended to view the success of their marriage dependent on how well they fulfilled their individual roles. And the idea was that the husband was to be the provider, the wife was to be the good mother and the homemaker. But in the 1970s, when the boomers were coming of age, came about the very boomer characteristic of looking at personal happiness, which is an idea of success that was innovated by the boomers, and maybe we have Dr. Spock to blame for that.
And Susan, let me ask you quickly, in terms of the impact on women who may be in their 50s, 60s, 70s getting these divorces, what do they need to think about economically for themselves if perhaps they haven't had a career, or at least a big career up until that point?
Right. Well, the days of the executive housewife getting a handsome award from a judge are really over. And I spoke with many divorce lawyers, and all of whom have said divorce is really a state by state, county by county business. So it depends on the judge that you're in front of. But many will look at women who have never had a job or maybe only had part-time work and just say, get a job at Williams-Sonoma.
Right.
And for women who are expecting maybe, wives of executives expecting to get a handsome payout, that's a big shock.
So a lot for them to think about. All right, Susan Gregory Thomas, she writes about this and more on it in tomorrow's Wall Street Journal. Susan, thanks for giving us a preview here on Lunch Break.
Thank you.
All right.